EA has just announced yet another round of layoffs. This is the third round of layoffs just this year.
Just this year.
It never
Insane.
ends. You would think at some point they would just run out of people to lay off, but somehow they keep going.
Can we get a
every time.
bombastic side eye?
Absolutely.
Please.
Bombastic side eye, criminal offensive side eye, bombastic side eye, criminal offensive side eye.
Yeah, that's the team.
That's the
team.
tea. Hello and welcome to Oversimulated, where we're serving all the piping hot gaming tea every single week. My name's Malcolm, your self-proclaimed king of cozy, and I'm joined here by my lovely co-host, the life sim diva herself, Lady Drama.
Ooh. Hello, co-host. This is so exciting. Welcome to our podcast, baby. Let us know if you're feeling overstimulated and where you're listening from. Find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And you can also get exclusive access to some bonus content on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. It's giving VIP area, honey.
That's right, icons and legends only over on Patreon. And as a very special thank you to our early Patreon supporters, we have 2 bonus videos up right now as we speak. And one of them I think you're going to love. It's a very, very spicy conversation about a controversial Sims influencer who might be experiencing a full-blown mentee bee as we speak.
Jesus.
Thank you, Barbie. I agree.
Thank you, Barbie.
We'll be posting exclusive content on Patreon every week, so please go check it out because we need the help. At any moment, I think the power might be cut off here at Oversimulated Studios. So thank you all in advance for all of your support.
Thank you. Today, we will be discussing the current state of the EA buyout and whether Sims influencers can stop it.
My bad. I'm just testing the memes out over here.
We'll also be talking about Witchbrook drama, messy lawsuits, and the GTA 6 prize reveal. Wow.
Yeah, get your wallets ready. And that's not all. We'll also be roasting some of the latest shenanigans going on over at Electronic Arts headquarters. And I think EA might have to change their name to mean everything's awful, because it really is. So stay tuned for all this and more after the break. So, Lady Drama, have you heard about this little thing called the EA buyout?
I barely know her. Who?
Just a little something. Some of you might be wondering, what is the status of the EA buyout at this very moment? And I think Lady Drama here has an update for us.
Yes, especially because there have been so many events about this freaking buyout. One might be confused, but don't be confused. Be woke, baby. Stay awake.
Oh.
We have the true tea over here, okay? First of all, this is fresh tea because, alas, nobody's talking about this. I mean, apart from us. I don't know why nobody's
feel like-
advertising this news.
It's always been that way for some reason, hasn't it?
It's just, we are not that mainstream. But yes, so apparently, considering that we are at the final stage of this EA buyout, the European Union is like, hello, we want to hear third parties' opinions about the buyout. But don't be fooled. This does not mean we want to hear, second opinions on whether you think the buyout should be stopped. That's not the question they're asking. They're asking if it can move on with or without further scrutiny. That's basically where we're at the moment. So the European Union has this email address. We've shared it on our channels, and people can submit by July the 11th, which is a past date by the time this podcast airs. So, hey, old news, new news, we'll see. But we tried.
We tried. I channeled my inner Gabby Hanna and I typed up an angry email and I sent it over. You know, like you said, it's not necessarily about whether this is going to stop the EA buyout. It's just about whether this EU Commission spends more time investigating it and looking into it further. But I think we can both agree there is no world where the EA buyout will be stopped. It could be delayed. There could be aspects of the deal that have to be reconsidered or reconfigured, but
Mm-hmm.
the deal is not going to be stopped. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, there's no way. It's not. I never thought that the deal could be stopped because of, who's involved in it. It's like, baby, it's Trump's favorite people right now. And
Jesus.
exactly.
Remind us who it
Jesus,
is.
Barbie. So, I mean, there's a Trump's son-in-law,
Mhm.
and then there's his pal, the Saudi prince. And like, it takes you one Google search just to find plenty images of these three together, and then add in to the mix Andrew Wilson and allegedly, like rumor has it, that Andrew and Jared Kushkush are like friends.
They're butt buddies,
They're
is what you're
tight.
saying. They're tight.
Yes.
They're playing
Yes.
golf on the weekends with each other. They're on the yacht together.
Mm-hmm.
All the
Yeah.
things the rich people do.
I wonder if like Andrew Wilson is going to also participate in the buyout of the Albanian island that Jared Kushner is currently working on. I don't know.
I mean, how many things can we buy out? Do they ever stop wanting to buy out stuff?
No.
No.
No, that's the business model. It's like buy out everything. Yes. And
It's terrifying.
it's crazy. So I never thought that this buyout could be stopped. Like you said, maybe scrutinized, maybe delayed a little bit, but stopped. I mean, these names are just like in 2026. No, it won't be stopped. Now, what the European Union can do is investigate, is trying to regulate, analyze, scrutinize, be very strict and severe, as you should. Like, European Union, come on, protect us.
They're
That's why you're there.
Exactly. I did not expect the US government to try to do anything to stop this, especially with the current
No.
administration. But
Mm-mm.
I did think that there was some chance because I saw what happened before with Microsoft Activision. I believe it was either the UK or the EU who tried to do something to stop that acquisition. Of course, it failed because these are massive corporations that can do whatever they want, essentially. But I did think that maybe the EU or the UK would do something to try to just look into it a little bit further. Like you said, nothing will probably come of it. I hope it does. I hope something does happen, but it just does not seem likely with the current state of the world.
What is happening now with European Union and what they are trying, what they're asking for second opinions on, and also what they're going to determine, it sits in the realm of antitrust and like conflict in this type of mergers and deals. I see how, a different pitch of the buyout could completely exonerate EA and the PIF, the Saudi wealth fund. It could completely exonerate them from actually going through the scrutiny because they could try proving that, there's no conflict of interest. It's not like, for example, Microsoft buying Activision. They are not really entities that operate according to them, of course. Like, this is what I imagine they would try painting it as. And so at that point, considering the scope of this commission is fundamentally antitrust, I don't know what they can do. They can't just like get it as a whole and be like, this is bad and it sucks and we don't want it. They have to find the ways to get there and at least scrutinize it, at least get, like, I would love to see the congressional hearing for Jared Kushner. That would be amazing.
However, there is one group of individuals who believe that they can stop the EA buyout. They alone have the power to unite the realms. Of course, we've been following on both of our channels the saga that is the Sims influencers and their determination to stop the sale of EA. So recently, some of you may have seen there was a video that was posted by a handful of UK content creators. Some of them were Sims creators. Some of them were just, I don't know who they were. Some of the people, to be honest with you, but they were there and they sounded
They were just
British. They were there. They love tea and they fit the mold that is a British individual. So they were asked to be in this video.
Right.
And what did you think about the video when you saw it? I'm curious.
I mean, this is what I thought.
Jesus.
That's so funny.
In all
I also thought
Jesus.
the same.
Oh my God.
We're
We had the same
simpatico.
thoughts.
I know.
Okay, I was very confused. This movement is very confusing to me because I'm like, okay, I'm following what's going on with the Player Alliance, with Zephyrin, with Little Simsy. And then out of nowhere, they're like, by the way, we have like a UK petition or whatever. And then they drop this video with like all of these names because in that short, you do have Little Simsy, you have Plumbella, you have Zephyrin. Like, I'm like, wow. The irony of it all is that they drop this video. They do like a whole like web page for this UK petition, which is not on the same page as the Players Alliance. Okay. It has Stefan Sims' name in this web page. And then like in the bottom of it, it says something like created by or something like that.
I noticed that.
That's
So-
how I connected her at first because I didn't see the short yet. And I was looking at the page and I went to the bottom and I was like, huh, okay. But then, you know, we keep following the protests and everything. Where is the UK petition? She was never mentioned again.
It's such a disjointed effort. And I want to be clear that we're not shaming the people who are
Mhm.
speaking up about the buyout because I think we all want the same thing. We would all love for the buyout to be stopped. It's just this whole movement is very strange. This whole buyout was announced September 29th, 2025. So nearly a year ago. And
Damn.
it took 6 months for this whole movement, this whole collective effort by the
Yeah, 6
Sims.
months.
Yeah, these Sims creators took 6 months to finally actually put this movement together to try to stop the buyout. And the question a lot of us had was like, why did it take so long? Number one. And
Why now?
why now? Exactly. Why wait until the very last minute to suddenly do these protests and make these videos? But for those who don't understand what the Players Alliance is, it's an organization, right, of gamers, of players who I think their ultimate goal is just to fight against greed in the video game space, which is a great goal to have. It's a huge
Yes.
problem when massive corporations have so much control over the games that we play. The Players Alliance has teamed up with these Sims creators like Zephyrin, like Lil Simsy, and I'm assuming with these UK creators as well, Stefo Sims and Plumbella and these other
Allegedly.
people. But the UK creator specifically made this video. Was it like 2 weeks ago?
Let me think. Yes. So they were talking about this not at the latest protest, at the one that they did before that. So
Right.
2 weeks and a half.
So the US
Maybe.
Sims players and Sims creators are doing these protests. And meanwhile, the UK Sims creators came out with this video 2 weeks ago, approximately. It
Mhm.
was posted on one individual's account, Steffo Sims, but then it was never shared as far as I understand. It was never shared with any other creators. There was
I
no
mean,
mention of it ever again.
yeah.
I looked at the comments of that video and people
Mm.
were like, okay, where's the link to the petition?
No.
There was no link to the petition. It was just a QR code that they showed on the screen. But everybody was like, bro, I'm watching this on
Oh,
my phone. Where's
just
the
let me
link?
click.
Yeah. The UK petition, last we checked, had 4,000 signatures.
Yeah, I checked yesterday. It was like 4,000 something.
My question is, because now we have two petitions. We have the US petition with the Players Alliance that has 70,000 signatures. We have now a
Mm-hmm.
UK petition with 4,000 signatures. What are these signatures doing? Who are they going
Exactly.
to?
What's happening next? And to me, the most ironic side of it was that while we are here confused by all of these petitions, then you just make a little research and you get the European Union that nobody has contacted. And the European Union is like, hey, here's an email address if you want to let us know additional info, additional tea on whether we should like look into this or not. But they're doing like that to me was so funny because I'm not an activist, I'm not an organizer. We are not an organization. So I was able to find out about this because, of course, I check around this topic. But if I were, an activist organizer, like no shade, I don't know what's the end goal of this whole movement, if there is an end goal. No idea.
Well, we have some breaking news, some piping hot tea, because a few days ago, Lady Drama and I convened and we said, maybe we should reach out to the Players Alliance ourselves to try to get some information about this. So we contacted the Players Alliance. We wrote them emails. I messaged some of the mods on Discord. Zero
I love that.
reply, zero response. Maybe, some of my past videos I made may have scared them a little bit. So they were like, we should just not reply to this guy at all. But one of the questions I asked is, first of all, you collected all of these signatures. Like, can you at least tell us when were they delivered? Were they delivered directly to the U.S. Treasury Secretary? Were they delivered in person or electronically? Did you have any direct communication with the Treasury Secretary, or did you just speak to the intern at his office? Like, where did these signatures go? Because there was this huge movement. Guys, sign the petition. Let's get all these signatures. At one of the protests, they had that incredible prop. You know,
not
the one
scroll.
the scroll, the giant scroll that they unraveled with the 60, 70,000 signatures. They made this huge display, this huge drama about this scroll and all these petitions. But what was the result of that? That is the issue with this whole movement. It really does just come across as a performance. And we need some follow-up. We're being told by these influencers like Lil Simzy and Zephyrin that it's really important that we sign this petition. Then we need to know, as interested parties, what's the outcome? What's the result of that?
Yeah, because that is also like ultimately the reason like behind this whole movement. Like you need to tell me what we're actually fighting for. And like the objective, like the message, it cannot change any other time we hear you talk about this. Like that is not good. And I really think, but this is just my opinion, that those petitions, I mean, the UK one is pretty new. We'll give them that. Because, there's so much time that it's still a baby.
Yeah.
But the other one with the 70,000 signatures, I think they are not going anywhere. I think they went to the EA, human resources employees that had no business checking those signatures. And that's it, because they never mentioned what is the amount of signatures that you need, first of all. Let's start from there. And to achieve what? Like, isn't that the main point of starting a petition?
It's the basics. And the fact that they even wrote that the recipient of the petition is the Treasury Secretary, who was hand selected by Donald Trump. The guy's a billionaire. Scott Bessent is a
Yeah.
billionaire investor, hedge fund manager dude who was hand chosen by Donald Trump. The fact that it was even addressed to him in the first place is bizarre. But even then,
So true.
the FTC hasn't said or done anything. Treasury Secretary, as we said, hasn't done anything. None of the departments in the US that have anything to do with like security or international affairs or anything like that have done
Mhm.
anything to step up, because it's just not going to happen. And that's why we both shared that EU Commission email, because unlike the US, that EU Commission is actually investigating it. They're actually trying to do something, at least at the very beginning, to collect information about this buyout. No organization in the US has done anything close to that. It's just fascinating, this whole thing. The petitions, the scrolls. I would love to know if the US people, if Zephyrin mailed that scroll to the UK people, because I think they should.
OMG.
I think they need a scroll as well.
The scroll is having her Euro summer, baby. She's traveling to the UK.
Yeah, next stop, Ibiza, and then we'll head over to the EU. I think that scroll deserves more attention. Maybe that's why they only got 4,000 signatures.
They can ship me the scroll. Then they can ship us to Ibiza.
Yes.
And, you know, I bet that there's an EA office out there, clearly.
We'll take care of it, guys. Don't you worry.
And we'll do the magic.
We'll show that scroll a grand time.
Yeah. Yeah. Like and subscribe to send us to Ibiza.
Yes. So recently, Lady Drama and I stumbled across this very interesting podcast that was about the EA buyout. And
Mhm.
two of our favorite Sims creators were featured in that podcast. But we want to play you a little clip of that podcast right now.
Kayla and I are actually very close friends, and it kind of gives me chills to talk about it, but we both had a dream the same night that we did a live stream together, like the same night. And then I just decided, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to see if how stupid can we get? How silly, goofy can we get? Let's shoot for the stars. And then she said, are you kidding me? We have, like, I had the same dream last night.
This is Zephyrin's I Had a Dream speech. MLK
I just
Jr.,
can't.
look out. Zephyrin had a dream.
It's the new. She's such an activist. Like, of course, she had a dream. That is kind of the part of the playbook. I mean, let's start by the fact that this might be hot tea and controversial, but we got to say it. Anytime there's a chance for Zephyrin to talk about little Simsy and their friendship, honey, she's going to take it. That is the true tea. So I wasn't surprised that they were, that she was so happy about her special friendship. But my thing is, it's giving biblical. It's giving, like, they had this vision together. And I also want to ask, what happened to this vision, considering that the Player Alliance and Miss Zephyrin went to freaking Florida and little Simsy did not show up for the protest, but she showed up later so they could go for like dinner or whatever. It's like, is this the kind of friend? Like, imagine that now you went to do something about a vision that you and I had together. Like, imagine that now you went to do a podcast live and I don't show up.
And the thing is, we both had a dream, right?
We did. Oh my God.
Breaking news.
That's why Zephyrin's story was so relatable to us, because
we experienced the same thing. Lady Drama and I both had a dream, and the dream was to have a podcast.
Yeah, it was crazy because I never spoke to anybody who has ever had that dream until
Me
I spoke
either.
to you.
Me either. So imagine we both had this dream and we bonded over our dream, but then only one of us showed up to the podcast. That is, it's kind of giving Lil Simsy doesn't want to be involved. I don't know if this
it's
is
giving that.
I don't want to say it's a one-sided love, but
Ooh.
it's kind of giving unrequited.
You have to listen to the podcast. That's what I wanted to say. Like, go and listen, because I mean, there aren't many bangers in the podcast, but this one about the dream was one of them. And when I heard it, it was fantastic, because they just went and said this and talked about this when Little Simsy is not following up on their shared dream. This is bullshit.
It is bullshit. I agree. And it's like, we could have this conversation about how Zephyrin has made herself to be the star of the Stop the EA Buyout movement. And
Yes.
it goes against the whole concept of like activism. You're not supposed to make it all about you. Like, it's supposed to be about the cause itself. And there have been so many signs, whether on Instagram or whenever Zephyrin came out and she said, the people who are boycotting EA are just lazy, performative assholes, is basically what she said. There is just this, I don't want to say it's ego. To me, it does come across as ego, honestly. She doesn't really understand that it's not about her. It's not about her best friend, Lil Simsy.
Yeah, that's true.
It's about actually doing something to make a difference and affect change. The whole thing just comes across as very performative and very virtue signaling. When she's making this whole thing about herself, she's shaming people who are boycotting, and yet she is still working with EA.
I can't. Like, my brain cannot even. I'm still stuck at that time that I saw that she was saying that like people who boycott are like armchair activists and they're like lazy. First of all, you know that she's talking about us, because who else?
Who else has said boycott EA? Exactly. And it didn't take us 6 months to say that either.
See, clock it. How about that? It took us like 1 fucking second. Like, oh, you know what? This is happening. First of all, I wasn't buying The Sims 4 shit, period. I hadn't been buying for a long time. So it's not like I had to think too much about it. But in general, I mean, it's just logic. Don't endorse financially, because that's the power that you have as a consumer. Now, if you want to evolve from consumer to activist, it is my opinion, but maybe it's, radical. It's my opinion that you should not be working for the company you are protesting against. But call me crazy.
I mean, she is highly offended to hear that, because she's a voice
Yes.
in the inside. So
she's a voice from within.
She's Zephyrin Al-Gaib. She thinks she's Paul Atreides in Dune.
Yeah.
She's the voice from the inner world or the outer world or both.
She's like, I had to ride a sandworm to get here. You guys, you have no idea how tough it was.
And the sandworm was just the scroll. And
it was just the scroll.
But True. She had a vision. She had a dream. And you touched on a good point. It's that, where were these people for the last 10 years? Like, that's the thing that bothers me in all this, is that the game has been shit. The game has been bad. EA has been greedy for the longest time. Things have not been good for Sims players for years and years. I think that's why it also makes them look even more performative. They're going on about how, oh God, what about the AI? AI, everything is going to be AI generated. They said this in the UK video. All the packs are just going to be full of AI slop. But EA partnered with AI companies and was investing in AI prior to the buyout announcement.
Mm-hmm.
They've been on this path. There are videos from a few years ago where Andrew Wilson is speaking about how much he loves generative AI. Where were you guys back then? Yeah. Where were they back then whenever EA was investing in AI and they have a patent to replace game testers with generative AI? Where were these people back then? In that video, the UK video, they also talk about, oh God, everything is going to get even more expensive.
Yeah, they're very
Um,
concerned about that.
I'm sorry, where were you guys the last 10 years? It's been expensive for the longest time.
It's like the full, like their library, not even mine, their library of The Sims 4 is like, it's over 1K, baby. Like,
Mhm.
it's going to get expensive? Excuse me. I don't know what expensive it means to them, but a game that if you want the full collection is over $1,000, that's expensive. That is expensive. So I don't know why their argument is all about the generations, like the gamers of the future that are not going to experience games like The Sims. I mean, wait, games like The Sims 4. And
Right.
so I'm like, it's such a bad faith argument when you're still advertising those same products that are already expensive, that are already overpriced, and you're advertising them to your community because you're going to profit off of those sales at the end of the day.
Right. Whoever chose Zephyrin, again, she's the one who's still working with EA. Whoever chose
Yeah.
her, was she chosen? Was she nominated? Did she nominate herself? I think that's probably what happened. But
Yes.
why would you pick the one person who is still in EA's pocket, who is still working with EA and profiting off of people using her creator code and promoting the latest packs? Why Zephyrin? That's like the weirdest thing of all of this.
It makes no
What?
sense. I don't know. Like and legit, I'd never heard of her until she streamed with Little Simsy and the congressman. But then I thought she was just the Simsy's friend. I'm like, I was not aware of anything of their important connections. That's true. And then I go and I find out that she's a EA partner. Barbie, you got to say it.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Some of you might be wondering now, where do we go forward? What happens with the future of the EA buyout? Is the scroll going to stop it? Is the UK and that one single short that they made going to stop the buyout?
So powerful.
First of all, the last we heard from EA is that the buyout is on track to complete this quarter. What does that mean in terms of the EU Commission and their whole investigation?
What we mentioned before, the email address open for like opinions, let's call them, is they are going to be accepting answers to that until July the 11th. The plan is for them to reach the end of July with a decision, which again, very clearly, is not about stopping the buyout or letting it go. Like that's not the decision they're making. They just need to decide whether they want to scrutinize it, investigate further, like open a full investigation, or if they're just going to green light it and then, see it through.
Let's hope that the EU Commission decides that
Death to all of them.
but
That would be great.
sadly, I kind of feel like the buyout is invincible. Yeah, I guess we'll see. So the deadline is end of July?
End of July, like we think between the 20th and the 31st. I think that's a good time frame to expect.
Honestly, like our next podcast that you see us, we could be talking about the sale being finalized. It's really that close.
That's true. Obviously, I hope, especially as an European, I hope that the EU will do the work in order to protect the consumers. That's the point number one for me. And then whatever other regulating they can do, I hope that they will have the power and the resilience to actually do it, because this deal is backed by a lot of power behind it and a lot of very prestigious names in like business world. It will be tough, but nonetheless, I mean, we'll keep talking about it and we'll keep boycotting in the meantime and until the end of time. How about
Until the end of time. Hashtag boycott EA, baby. But when the deal does go through, I would like the scroll just as a prop. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Oh my God.
Whoever has the scroll,
Yes.
Players Alliance, if Zephyrin has it, That's going to be hard to get her to give that to me, but
No.
name your price, Zephyrin. I'll use your creator code.
Ooh. Can you give it for a discount? I mean, it would be great to like have it at the Oversimulated podcast headquarters.
I agree. It would be a great prop to have behind us, just as a reminder of the fight that we fought.
Yes. And also a reminder of a dream. It was Zephyrin and Little Simsi's first, but it also ours.
Beautiful. But we're not done yet, folks. We have more gaming news coming up after the break.
Welcome back.
We have some amazing headlines for you today, and coincidentally, they all have to do with our favorite mega corporation, Electronic Arts.
Also, Electronic Arts, aka Everything's Awful.
Especially right now, because EA has just announced yet another round of layoffs. This is the third round of layoffs just this year at EA.
Just this year.
It never
Insane.
ends. You would think at some point they would just run out of people to lay off, but somehow they keep going.
That's
Earlier,
true.
I know. What's fascinating is they had two major releases last year. There was Skate and there was Battlefield 6, I believe it was. Even though Battlefield, for instance, Battlefield 6 was the best-selling game of 2025, they still proceeded to lay off individuals from that studio that makes that game. We had Skate layoffs, we had Battlefield layoffs, and now the company has undergone another round of layoffs, this time an unknown number. It has affected individuals who work in recruitment, customer support, IT, some of their trust and safety teams as well. Again, we don't know the exact number of layoffs this time, but it's a sad story to hear. It means people
It's
losing
just
their
awful.
jobs. I know. And the thing with EA as a global company, it's not just a few people here and there. It's
Mhm.
people in the US, people at their Asia offices, in Europe. It just affects everyone whenever they have these types of layoffs.
100%. And when there's a climate of layoffs inside of a company, it doesn't matter like if the team that is getting the chop is not like even in your country. Like in these big companies, you know, things can be connected. Sometimes there are colleagues that maybe you don't work with on a daily, but you know them, or maybe it's you. Like they don't look at anybody in the face when they make these type of decisions. And even touching back on what we were saying at the beginning of this episode, we always hear a lot of talking about the Sims developers, a lot of like in defense of the Sims 4 developers, the Sims 4 developers this, the Sims 4 developers that, don't talk shit about the Sims 4 developers. Like, but what about all of these other roles that, you know, the final customer may not ever interact with, but that are very, very important for the operational side of any company? Like, nobody's thinking
Absolutely.
about them.
That's such a good point. It's also the people in customer support, the people who work in HR, the people who work in IT who do like all the technical stuff behind the scenes. It's not just the front-facing developers. But as always, EA has presented this layoff as a good thing. They always have a way of explaining themselves out of every situation. And this time they have said these layoffs are part of a plan to, quote, adapt how we work to better meet fans' changing needs. So don't worry, folks. They're doing all this for you, for the fans and the players.
OMG. I mean, the gaslighting is like so freaking obvious. No, don't scream, honey. I'm doing this for your sake. Can we get
Every
a
time.
bombastic side eye,
Absolutely.
please?
Bombastic side eye, criminal offensive side eye, bombastic side eye, criminal offensive side eye.
Side eyeing them strong.
But that's not all in the latest EA news. What else do you have for us, Lady Drama?
Okay, so if you happen to be subscribed to the Drama House on YouTube, you might have already seen this. You may have heard already of this name, Laura Miele. I've mentioned her.
Terrifying.
No shade to you, Laura, but like every time we hear your name, it's not in a good context. It's not some nice piece of news, unfortunately. We are now starting to, at least me, getting used to the idea of this continuous AI propaganda coming from all directions, like whether it's the fucking oligarchs that are deep until their cankles into this whole AI thing.
Jesus.
Not the Kinkles.
Not the cankles, yes. Or the people like Laura Miele, like top executives, probably her like evaluation on her job this year has a lot to do with how much she can sell us the concept of how good AI is. And I actually want to read the quote because I think it deserves.
And for those who don't know, Laura Miele is, I believe, the president of EA Entertainment. So that's all of their games that are not the sports games, from my understanding. So she's a big wig.
Yeah, that's why we also hear about her a lot, because she's usually involved in this kind of news that also impact somehow the Sims. I think there's that iconic EA Investors Day video where she's wearing that polka dot dress that I think all of the
Yes.
creators have used, because in there they were talking about fucking Project Renee or whatever, like the future of the Sims.
And what's also funny to me is all of the big corporate executives at EA have these very villainous, like professional photographs that EA uses
That's
for
true.
everything. Andrew Wilson, Laura has one, but they all look like villains in these photos. I don't know why they use these,
No,
but
that's so true. What's up with these kind of business pictures? It's like they are shot from like below them. And so it kind of gives this side of the face, and they're looking down, like, and they have their arms like this, and they're just looking down at the photographer. Like, no, it's giving a Trump cabinet, Vanity Fair, a photo shoot, if you know what I mean.
absolutely. It's giving, we just laid off 500 people and we don't feel bad about it at all.
Yeah, they're like, yes, and what's the problem? First of all, she tries depicting parts of the development process in gaming as like tedium. So she says that it's removed some tedium out of their jobs, speaking of AI. And I've seen faster prototyping, I've seen faster creativity and shorter, faster conversations around creativity and coming to alignment. I don't even know what this means. It's like faster everything, but shorter, like faster prototyping, but shorter conversations around creativity. And she's talking about this like it's a flex.
I do not think AI and creativity should be used in the same sentence, right?
Period. Let's start right there. And then she's like, so it's so interesting to see how this is helping creativity. And I'm like, Laura, how is this helping creativity, really?
Clap if you think she should suffer.
Such a weird flex, like you said, that we're now equating creativity with AI and saying that AI is helping us to be more creative. To me, whenever I think of generative AI, I think of the opposite of creativity, and I think of the death of human thought. Like, I'm actually
Exactly.
terrified. We thought we had to worry about brain rot, like TikTok and shorts ruining everyone's brain. But we have so many people who rely on AI to not even help them or assist them, like Laura is saying, but to literally do their thinking for them. That's scary.
Her language here is very like corporate gaslighting, because what she's saying is, look, the perks from my perspective as a like high executive, the perks is that this shit gets everything done half the time is needed. What she probably means, in my opinion, is that we could even cut on people because we got so much faster. And then she says the conversations around creativity have decreased and have become shorter. And to me, that's very like, corporation idea of faster, better, and less talk, more action. You shouldn't have 1 hour long meetings because that's like a lot of your time and what is requiring all of this energy. So it's giving that to me. But personally, as someone who works to survive, I'm like, no, babe, we need to have conversations. And when you are asking creatives to work on a creative process, which should still exist and be human led, they are going to need to have conversations. Like, what happens when teams are not communicating and not having those conversations and cutting on creative arguments? You get The Sims 4.
Absolutely.
That's what
Absolutely.
happens.
I completely agree. It's not a good thing to hear that, oh, we're cutting down on the conversations we're having. We're cutting down the brainstorming that goes into making decisions. It's like, well, what if some of those conversations are important and need to be had? And then I think
Especially creative ones. Like, you can't cut on those. Like, also, that's the fun part of the job, I
exactly.
think. Like, sharing and seeing different perspectives and then getting a result together. But to these executives, the importance just resides in how many hours will you need to get this done. And if it's less hours and more AI, they're like, no, this is actually influencing creativity in a positive way. It's literally the opposite spin of what is really happening. And so please, EA employees, if you got laid off, contact us.
Contact
I
us.
want to ask questions.
We would love to have you on. Then we get outcomes like this recent example. We'll put it on the screen. EA released this image promoting, I believe it was their Steam summer sale. The image was AI generated. So it was basically a stadium, and there were EA's various games like The Sims and FC, maybe Battlefield, a few others. But as if we needed any proof that EA is investing heavily in AI, we are seeing the outcomes of that now with their
That's
marketing,
crazy.
with their games. And speaking of marketing, recent headline from Variety: Electronic Arts makes push for ad dollars tied to sports. Much like we've already seen with The Sims, actually. You know how EA and the Sims team have been doing those brand collaborations in The Sims? Oh my God, we had the Coach collab. Who could forget that?
Unforgettable.
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 You know those Coach bags they put in the game? You can't even use them. They're just props.
I was so shocked when I looked at the pictures in game that they shared. Like, I didn't even need to go as far as trying to find these items, like to get these items in my game. What do you mean they're handbags, but they cannot wear them? I have free custom content in my The Sims 3 where all my girlies are going around with the bag. Like,
Oh, yeah.
what do you mean?
Oh, yeah. It's beyond. But expect more of this. And not just in The Sims, but in other EA games as well. It says, the video game giant has launched EA Advertising, a new platform it hopes will lure advertisers who are increasingly putting their marketing money behind traditional sports programming. So it appears that their goal is, for instance, whenever you play FC, which is, soccer for the Americans out there, whenever football, exactly. Whenever you're playing FC and you're in the stadium and you see those big electronic billboards all around the stadium, in the future, there could be some Samsung advertisements, Microsoft. I don't know about Microsoft because that's competition, but, there could be crypto. Oh, God. Not the crypto bros.
Palantir.
Oh, my God.
OpenAI.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
No, me neither. Me neither.
According to the article, Lowe's and Visa have helped to create in-game experiences already in some of EA's FC titles. Expect more to come, folks. More in-game advertising. Whatever EA can do to just rake in more money because that's what they
That's
need.
crazy. Can I just call all of the people that are sitting on Reddit and are saying shit like, it's so not cool that a game like Paralives is doing collaborations with like other freaking indie games. Okay, to these people, talk to us when you'll open your The Sims 4, and I don't know what advertisement will pop up because they maybe not The Sims 4, maybe it's going to be Project X/Renee, but they're gonna do it to you. Just wait and see.
Those people who were complaining about Paralives doing free collaborations, The Sims 4 just did the Bridgerton collab and it was paid.
Mhm.
You had to pay for that. So there's a lot of people who make a lot of exceptions and excuses for The Sims, but are very quick to judge the other games.
Yeah, that's the tea. That's the tea.
We have some more gaming headlines for you. Let's start off with this brand new game called Witchbrook. I say it's a brand new game, but it's actually not even out yet. And that is
Mhm.
what we're going to be discussing. So there is this cozy game called Witchbrook. I've seen people describe it as they do with every cozy game by saying it is Stardew Valley meets, this time, Harry Potter. And we need some Harry Potter alternatives. It is a magical, majestic world where you go to a wizarding school and there's many life simulation elements to this game. It seems really cool. I think I would love this game myself.
Are you a bit of a witch?
You know, I can do a little bit of a spell here and there.
Okay, you mess
Um,
with that.
When there's a full moon, I feel like I get some of those magical powers.
You know the full moon thing.
Weird things happen when the moon is full. Weird dreams, etc.
My God, was it a full moon when we had that dream? Shock.
I think it was. Witchbrook has been under some scrutiny lately because there are some individuals in the Witchbrook and the cozy games community who are casting a lot of doubt on Witchbrook and how long the game has taken to release. Witchbrook was announced, I believe it was 2018, 2019, so 6 or 7 years ago, around the same time as Paralives. Originally, it was supposed to have an early access release last year, but it was delayed. Fingers crossed it's coming in 2026, but what do we think about this skepticism surrounding Witchbrook? Is it healthy to be super skeptical about games that take years and years to release? Do you think people are being dramatic? What do you think about this?
I mean, I think it depends on what people take in consideration as like a previous story, whether it's like a story of success or a story of failure, because it takes no second to go and like research those tragic stories of all of these like promising games that never made it out and just associate any project that is still ongoing and not out yet. It's easy to associate the two things and be like, oh, this is going to be another experience just like that one where we all had our hopes up and then nothing happened. But then you have the other example, right? I mean, look at Paralives. Paralives came out. So
Look at that. It wasn't a scam after all.
it wasn't a scam, and a lot of people thought that it was. Like, it got to a point where people were really going against whoever was excited for Paralives to come out by saying this is just a scam. But there's a difference, right? Because Paralives also had the fans funding part of it, which is
Mhm.
not a case,
Right.
right?
Because Witchbrook is being made by a regular studio. They're not doing any type of fan funding. The studio is called Chucklefish. I don't believe it's necessarily a big studio, but one thing that's important about this Chucklefish, the studio making Witchbrook, is that they're a zero crunch studio. They have made this promise that they're never going to overwork their developers or make them do the crunch that is kind of famous in the games industry, especially when you're getting close to the game's release. A lot of these studios, they work those developers and their employees really hard, but Chucklefish has taken a different approach, which is an admirable one, but obviously it's kind of contributed to these delays and the amount of time it's taken for this game to get to early access.
I
I think you had a
mean,
good point, though, that
mm,
we have had some history there where games have been announced, there's been a lot of hype around them, but they just never came out. So it makes sense that there's some skepticism.
I think you have to do it case by case because it is different circumstances, it is different teams, it is different games, different development times. I really like the idea. I mean, of course, believing that it's 100% true. But this idea of like, no, we're not going to overwork the staff to then give you something that maybe we don't consider. Because that's always my thing. Like, are they taking their time because they want to do things right and they want to like be detail oriented and they don't want to like push the workforce to unhealthy places like overtime, like burnout and all of that? Or is there something else? Because in the case of the games that never made it out, usually there were also other problems going on, whether it's like budgeting problems or like IP problems. Like it depends what we want to use as an example. To me, the part about we're not overworking these people, it's a slay. I believe that when players are waiting eagerly for a game to come out, it's all about their expectations, I feel. Like, what is your expectation for the game, but also for this timeline that you have because you know about the game, but you can't access it yet. So how much longer? Because I feel that it's also rooted in impatience, saying, it's never going to come out. It's because somebody is impatient about it.
Exactly. We see this happen with games of all sizes.
Yes.
Witchbrook is very much anticipated. It's, I believe, in the top 10 most wishlisted games on Steam. But if we compare the size of the Witchbrook team to, for example, Rockstar, GTA 6 has been in development forever. The meme is going strong. The other day, somebody commented on my video that my arm movements remind them of a GTA 3 NPC. And my response was, we got GTA 3 NPCs in real life before GTA 6. People have been waiting and waiting. And there were even players who were saying, it's never going to come. GTA 6 is never coming. It doesn't matter what size the studio is. I guess a lot of it is just excitement and hype that goes too far.
Exactly. And then it becomes all the chatter that you get online and all of this like frustration and impatience. We'll talk about GTA in just a second.
I think we should go ahead and just talk about it.
Yes.
GTA 6, baby.
Oof.
We have the official price reveal for GTA 6. This is, by the way, the most anticipated game, I would say, of the last half a century, to be honest with you. Like, I can't think of any game that has had this much hype, this much excitement, this much momentum. There was a lot of speculation about the price. How much is this game going to cost us? Finally, we have the price reveal, and you can buy GTA 6 for the low price of
only $80, baby, or $100 if you have 20 more to spend.
100 is pushing it.
But hold on, because you get the pre-order, like the deluxe edition, and this comes with paywalled content, by the way. That's also why many people are pre-purchasing. But then you don't even get a physical copy of it because it doesn't come with anything inside, just the code for you to activate the game.
Christmas morning, you wake up, you open the box, and there's a lump of coal inside.
Yeah. It's like,
this time it's just a piece of paper with a code.
You don't own it. You don't own it. You don't physically have it. They can take it away from you just to start some panic.
Here's the thing. People are going to buy GTA 6 regardless of the price, and Rockstar knew that. People would pay $150, $200 for the deluxe edition.
No judgment. Like, if you are also taking a day off when it comes out so you can play, I'm going to try not to judge you. Like, play the game when it comes out. I get it. But the amount
Bunch
of people...
of nerds. Yeah.
But you know what I saw? Like, I saw online a picture of a contract that a couple, straight of course, drafted where it said that she could not talk to him, ask him to do stuff, interrupt him, like nothing for like the week that GTA comes out. I mean,
I saw this too. I fear that there are many couples out there with similar contracts. I do get that there's a lot of hype. I grew up with these games myself.
I'm a San Andreas girl.
Yes, San Andreas. One of my earliest GTA memories, I was probably 10 years old. And I remember begging my parents, like, please get me GTA. It was probably San Andreas at the time. They took me to the store. I picked up the game. We went to the checkout, and the workers at the GameStop or whatever it was, they clearly saw that this was a parent buying the game for their 10-year-old child who was not 18 or whatever the age restriction is.
Mm-hmm.
But they listed off all of these things that are in the game: drug use, prostitution, violence, the murder, all the things.
Jesus.
And my parents were just like, somehow they did buy me the game. But
That's amazing.
and then of course GTA 5 came out 2014, 2015, around that time. So it's been 10 years.
It's been, yeah.
The hype has been building and building and building. A lot of people were concerned that they would start at like $90 for the regular version. I do feel like 80 is a bit too expensive. I guess $80 is better than 90, but we would love if it were a normal price of like 70. That would be great.
Yeah, because also here's the thing, it's not just about GTA. It's what we were saying before, right? One can take the single case and just say, but it's iconic and it's going to be so good and people have been waiting for 10 years. And so like, imagine that people have been saving and they're willing to pay because they're like, I've waited this whole time, and all the different like arguments that you can make. But the problem here is that GTA being the iconic franchise and title that it is, anything that they do, they influence what can happen after. Whenever they do something that leaves people like a bit puzzled, that is going to just set the precedent for anybody else to just follow that example and then just say, oh, but look, GTA did it. So why are you guys coming for us?
Exactly right. I will give Rockstar credit. The quality of their games is there. They take their time, they make sure everything's right. But as you said, it does set this precedent for other games. And in many cases, those games are not going to be worth $80. They're not going to be of the quality we expect from an $80 game.
Exactly.
What's next? Sims 4?
I'm scared.
What's next? Truly, Sims 4 is going to release decorative vehicles expansion for the new price of $50. We had to raise the price because, you know, the supply chain and
Inflation,
our competition,
the
inflation,
tariffs,
the CEO's salary, of course.
Right.
You know, we had to pay for that somehow. This is going to change the pricing for the entire industry. Rockstar wasn't the first. GTA 6 isn't the first. There have been, you know, some Nintendo games prior to this that were selling for $80. It's the new normal at this point.
It's the new normal, which opens the question, but if I need so much money to play, then I have to work all of these hours. And then when I work all of these hours, when the fuck am I going to play? Can somebody answer this question, please?
Lady Drama asking the real questions here.
Somebody has to.
Another thing that has become the norm in the video games industry, giant game companies trying to screw over their studios and developers. And
we're talking about Krafton now?
how did you know? Yes. If you don't know, recently Krafton was involved in a massive lawsuit with one of their studios, Unknown Worlds, which is the developer of Subnautica. This studio was actually founded back in 2001, and during the pandemic, around 2020, 2021, after their highly successful game Subnautica was released, they ended up getting acquired by Krafton, the South Korean mega corporation. That's also making Inzoi.
Inzoi.
Yes, we love our Inzoi fans. I'm sure they're watching. So the Krafton lawsuit came about because when Krafton acquired Unknown Worlds, the Subnautica studio, back in 2020, 2021, they paid $500 million for the studio. And then there was a bonus of $250 million that they promised they would pay the studio if they met certain targets. If they got a certain amount of sales by these dates, they would pay them this $250 million bonus. Long story short, Krafton tried to get out of paying the bonus. Shocker to
Yeah.
no one, right?
Who's
The
shocked?
massive corporation doesn't want to pay their employees what they deserve. They go to court. The judge ruled in favor of Subnautica, the Subnautica studio Unknown Worlds, and they said you have to reinstate the CEO that you fired after you tried to sabotage them. His name is Ted Gill. He's the CEO of Unknown Worlds. The ruling came out. They reinstated the CEO. They pushed back the deadline for getting Subnautica 2 out. A few weeks ago, I believe it was May, they released Subnautica 2. It sold 4 million copies, so it's done pretty well. The developers have earned their $250 million.
Get that back.
Get that bag, baby. Just a few days ago, the CEO, Ted Gill, announced that he is resigning.
He said,
So-
bye, Felicia.
I don't blame the guy. Why would you stick around at a company that fired you?
No, I mean, that's the move to make, like in his shoes, same here. Because let's not forget how messy that whole lawsuit thing was. And here's another shout out for the Inzoi fans that are waiting for another one. In that lawsuit, like in the different discovery documents that came out from the lawsuit, there are I think there are emails where they're talking about Inzoi and they are mentioning how Inzoi was released with in such an empty state and still managed to achieve the insane amount of early access copies sold when it came out. And I remember seeing that when reading about the Subnautica lawsuit, and I found out that part, and I was like, I mean, even
Jesus.
Krafton,
Jesus.
yes, even Krafton is shading the state, the overall state Inzoi came out in.
You can never believe what they tell you, what they tell the players. We can never trust. Because
Never.
to our faces, of course, they're saying, oh, the game's ready for early access. We're so proud of the work that we've done. But behind the scenes, they're saying, that game wasn't ready for early access.
Exactly. They're like, can you believe how much we managed to get out of that early access when we all knew? That was kind of their thing. They all knew that the game was bare bone, and they still went and they used it as an example. That game was empty and we still made money. Not to mention the whole ChatGPT emails that the Krafton CEO had, how was it? He was asking advice to ChatGPT on how to handle certain parts of the communication with the Subnautica team.
This CEO went to ChatGPT and asked, how can we get out of paying this bonus to the
That's right.
Subnautica team? The funny thing is, in this case, ChatGPT said, you really can't get out of this because you signed a contract where you promised to pay it.
and she was right.
She
'Cause
was
they
right.
didn't.
The one case where you should listen to ChatGPT, just so we don't get the headlines confused, it was the Subnautica Studios CEO, Ted Gill, who resigned, not Krafton CEO.
Let's be clear.
Let's be clear, because his contract was just renewed by Krafton's board of directors a few months ago. So even after he cost the company all this money and failed so miserably, they still renewed his contract.
My God. I mean,
If only we could all be so lucky, to fail that hard and still keep our jobs.
right? In what job is this normal?
I think we just have one thing to say to Krafton.
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye. Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye.
Hell yes. And all the best of luck to Ted.
I think we should invite him to Ibiza with us with the scroll.
Ooh, yes, we can get a table somewhere and party all night.
Yeah, hit us up, Ted, if you're watching.
Give us a call.
Well, that is all for today, folks, but join us next week for some more gaming news and piping hot tea. But you know, Lady Drama, I had a dream where there's a place that people can find exclusive bonus content.
No way. Are you kidding me? I had the same dream. Did you dream of people being able to access for as little as $5 a month?
That's
Me
it.
too.
So join us on Patreon, and until then, we'll see you next week.
Because the party continues, divas.
Jesus.